Welcome! In front of me is a HTC U24 Pro, and today I will show you a couple of tweaks and tricks you can do on this device. So let's just get started by opening up our settings, and we're going to begin by navigating into the display section. Here we will have a couple different things that I will showcase. So starting off, we have dark theme. You can turn it on or off. It's not showing up throughout the setup process, so you can choose it right here. And additionally, when you enable it or disable it, you can also select it to be on a schedule. We have turn on at a custom time option on a sunset to sunrise, or turn on at bedtime. Though it looks like you need to specify bedtime, what time that actually is. And when the time comes, it just switches from one mode to another. So I presume if you are set on dark mode, bedtime arrives, it actually switches to light mode, I think. Though I could be wrong. Let's see, if we go into bedtime, so it doesn't really specify anything about dark mode here. So do not disturb for bedtime mode. Only calls from stared contacts, aka favorite contacts, repeat calls and alarms can reach you. Unless there is a next. Okay, so we just select our time at which that bedtime is. And that's about it. Yep, so it looks like I was correct. I think about the dark mode, it will switch between whatever mode is set before, so it just alters. So if you're set to dark mode right now, at bedtime it will switch, I think, to light mode. So you probably also might want to have it the other way around, as that's most likely what is the logical solution, to have light mode during the daytime and it switching to dark mode during night. But scrolling a little bit further down, we have colors. And here you can choose how saturated your display looks like. So we have natural, we have boosted, which is even more saturated, and then we have adaptive, which is... yeah, it's almost identical, at least I can't really spot the difference. Yeah, I just genuinely can't see a difference between adaptive and natural. I am personally the type of person that prefers the more toned down colors, which would mean natural or adaptive, but in both cases it is pretty vibrant nonetheless, and there is no like little bit more natural looking natural color, because this isn't a natural coloring right here. Even the camera is kind of showing it up as oversaturated. As you can probably see, it loses on camera kind of detail in this kind of more reddish areas. So it looks like you really have choice between natural or boosted, boosted being more saturated. Next, we have the screen refresh rate, and it's set to 100 frames per sec or 120 frames per second, or hertz, or you can also change it to 60. The general kind of idea here is, if you don't see a difference between 120 and 60, so you can just swap to 60 for instance, and then start scrolling up and down here. Go back to your refresh rate, change it, and again try the same thing. If you don't really see much of a difference in terms of this kind of fluidity of everything moving, then you probably might want to change it to 60, as this will give you better battery life. Now moving on, we can now navigate a little bit further down to system, I believe, right? Gestures, navigation mode, and here we have the two different navigation methods, which again don't really show out through the setup process, so you can navigate in here to find them. And by default the phone opts into the 3-button nav, but you can change it to gesture navigation. And furthermore, you can click on the gear icon and change the sensitivity of these kind of gestures. So when the phone detects this as a back gesture, and when it detects it as a, for instance, you trying to swipe it. So it's pretty good in terms of rejection, because this button is clearly in the blue area and I can still swipe it away. So it does realize that I'm not trying to go back, but I'm trying to actually interact with the slider right here, which obviously if you have a kind of problem where you sometimes try to do such a thing and it activates a back gesture, you might want to reduce the sensitivity of this. We also have the option to turn off the Google Assistant, which is right here. So swipe to invoke the assistant. You swipe like this to do it, just to showcase this. So when you turn it off, it just when doing this angle swipe, it just detects this as a home gesture. And unfortunately, there is no option to hide the gesture bar at the bottom. So anyway, this basically concludes the tweaks and tricks that I want to show you. So if you found this very helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.